So you're an asshole.
Yes.
And you're a comedian.
I guess I don't really consider myself.
Yeah, but don't.
A guy
But didn't
who's doing stand up right now?
Are you a guy
it for
doing
like
stand up?
9 months. Yeah.
What made you get into that? And then we'll get into what made you being got you into being an asshole.
That's like always something I liked. Like growing up, like me and my dad, we grew up. I lived with my dad in a 1-bedroom apartment. We slept in the same bedroom. Not right now, but we like literally in high school and even when I started college.
And this was in Miami.
This was in Miami. We slept in the same bedroom. So we had 2 beds, okay? Just for the right 2
Bullshit.
beds. But like at night we
Those aren't
home.
pillows.
Yeah, exactly. He'd come home from work and we'd throw on like Comedy Central and we'd just watch stand up. And like, you know, that was like the one like thing we had together. And I always saw it. And I was telling Rich in my article, I would watch it and it didn't seem like something that a normal person could do. And then like just like growing up, I didn't really ever meet anybody who was doing stand up. But I knew that there was like regular people who just started doing it.
Right.
And I was writing a movie and I got like halfway through. I had like terrible writer's block. And I just decided like I have all these good ideas for like jokes and stuff. Maybe if I tried stand up. So I looked it up and I ended up doing it. And I was like thinking it was going to be like this whole big deal. And it's nothing. Like it's just like, oh, you write some stuff and you go up there and say it. It's not as hard as like I thought it was. Like I thought it was going to be like real nervous and like not able to speak. But
but then the comedians that we've had on before are like, this is a tough gig.
I mean, for me, I just love it, man. It's like going up there. I feel like I almost have to do it.
So what's your kind of like your angle? In other words, like most comedians have something that they're known for. So it's like, oh, you know, Gilbert is rude.
He's known for sleeping with his groupies after the show.
No, like the main thing it's like dating.
For real.
Do you have a good Gilbert story? Just kidding.
Yeah, kind of. Like I asked him we were eating dinner. I asked him to take a picture with me, and he was like, "No." And I'm like, don't you remember when you were like a 27-year-old comedian and you were performing with a famous guy who was about to die? And he was like, okay. And he just took a picture. And then we talked about juggalos for like 15 minutes.
Why?
Why is this a thing?
He's a juggalo.
No,
He's not.
Juggalos love Gilbert. I heard this from a friend
Like,
of
wait,
mine.
ICP juggalos?
Yes.
ICP.
Is there any
they're
other kind of juggalo?
obsessed
I
with Gilbert
need to
Gottfried.
clarify it just to make sure that Juggalo has not transformed into something.
Magnets.
I
They're
am a fan of
miracles.
ICP. I really am. Their music is hilarious. I mean, it really is.
But
I
they
mean,
also came out as Christians,
Yeah.
which is even weirder.
But
I don't
also
know if
My
that's
friend
wrestlers.
told me that he was huge, and I didn't believe it. And I asked him about it. He was like, "Oh yeah," and he was like telling me stories about like going to like these concerts in the middle of the woods, and everyone's like drunk and high.
Gilbert Gottfried.
Gilbert
Yes.
fucking Godfrey, yeah.
Yeah.
And literally, he's the nicest guy off stage.
and he doesn't sound
Like,
anything.
nothing like he talks on stage, and he's like just like an old Jewish New York man who's like super nice, super calm. It's so weird.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I was talking about that when we had the interview up. It's the same thing. It's just that's how he is through the phone too. You know, he's
Yeah,
very
you think
genuine.
He'd be a huge dick. He's been doing stand up since he's 18.
Right.
15.
15.
15,
Yeah,
yeah.
15. He's been famous since he was in like his mid 20s. And he's like, I don't know, 60 something. And he's just like so down.
So you have about 12 more years.
Yeah.
So what gave you what was the impetus to be like here's the first time I'm gonna go on stage, and where was it? What was it like?
Dude, it was just so random. Like I was just like, yep, I'm gonna do stand up. And I went online and I searched and I found out there was an open mic at Wisecrackers up at Mohegan Sun. And I just went down. Like my first time up, I wrote all these like just like things that everyone would kind of know about. Like I wrote, it was like a lot of political shit. I don't even remember all of it.
Boring.
No, but I actually went up and I was expecting to get like nothing.
Yeah.
But I actually got laughs like where I was expecting to get a laugh, and I was like shocked. And then I went home and I just threw all that shit in the garbage and started writing about what I actually wanted to write about. And like mostly what I talk about is like dating, relationships, like just like random, like you go on a date with a random girl you met online and like something fucking weird happens, you know?
Invariably, yeah.
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 It's bound to happen. Yeah. So that's pretty much like.
Here's
like what?
Like here's a selfie
Oh my
stick.
God.
Here.
You know, they just banned that at the Louvre.
Huh?
They just banned the selfie stick at the Louvre.
They should ban the selfie stick globally.
No.
No, I disagree.
I also vehemently disagree.
Why?
Yeah. Well,
Do you
because
have one?
man, I got
One
a
of the
custom one.
greater inventions of the Philippines.
Would you made your own?
Yeah.
How do you make a selfie stick?
You just get a stick and put it on there and set your thing to videotape, and then you screenshot your video.
Oh, so
Like a wooden stick that,
Yeah,
like with a V.
tape
at the
on it,
end,
that's
right. You just got to balance.
Like one of
it.
those old hobo ones where they put all their belongings in the rag.
Do you know what that's called?
Carpet
What is it
bag?
called?
I forget.
Carpet bagging.
It's
Carpet bagging?
but there's an actual name for it. It's not a carpet bag. They call it something else. Oh, it's gonna be time to Google.
You're the resident brilliant. So how did you get into stand up?
When I was 21, I was at a bar, and I was sitting there and just talking to the owner. And he goes, "Hey, I want a comedy night here. You want to host it?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." It lasted about 3 weeks until I made fun of somebody. The guy came up, pretty much knocked me out on stage and threw me off the stage. And then that was
somebody in the audience.
Yeah. And then that was it.
A bindle.
Yeah. Is it?
Bindle.
A bindle. Yep.
Now, where was? Do you mind saying what bar this was at?
It was at Club Excess, which
Where's
was
Club
it used to be
Excess?
Jitterbugs years ago.
Oh my God! Wait, is that the one back in the shopping
Yes.
complex?
Yep.
I played there before.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and that was Jitterbugs, and then it was Club
Yeah,
Excess.
Club Excess. Then, well, no, it was Jitterbugs.
Was it? Were you
then
in
I
the
think-
bar? Isn't this the place where like the bar is up front? Then you go through the doors.
Yeah,
and
the
there's like a
back and the
stage.
stage there.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah. All right.
Yeah. So went from that. Then I gave it a break, and it wasn't even a year ago. We did another benefit show. Another group I'm a member of, the Northeastern Facial Hair Alliance Club.
Oh my God.
It's just a bunch of burly guys with beards who go
Yeah.
out and drink.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome club. But we do like stuff. So we did a benefit, and they're like, "Hey, why don't you do some comedy?" I'm like, They're like,
Last
"Come on."
time didn't go well.
So I went there, and then next thing you know, someone comes up. Hey, would you want to do comedy at my place? You want to do comedy at my place? I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So and then that's how I ended up meeting him.
Yeah.
You know, and then I think we're gonna be life partners now because I think he's pretty cool.
Alan is the fucking coolest guy, but he's like the weirdest guy ever.
Most down to earth. I'm very down to earth.
Like he just says things sometimes that you're just like, what? What are you talking about, dude?
But that's his thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because I say shit all the time where I'm like, to me, that was funny. I don't fucking care if you don't get it.
You're not funny.
Like you asked me,
I find you pretty funny.
you asked me like what my angle is in stand up. So like I told you, it's like dating and relationships. Alan's angle is he'll just go on to Google and type in jokes. And then he'll just read that into a microphone.
I'm like, Sergio, I'm having a blank spot here. What was that site again?
Is there a site for jokes?
Oh,
Dude,
no,
the internet's
no, not
full of,
at
like,
all.
all those shitty
There's
jokes.
not
And-
one site for jokes on the
no, but I
internet,
wasn't-
which is weird. I think I'm going to start one. I'll be a millionaire.
No, I was just.
Have you interneted before?
Yeah.
No.
You
I
even
just didn't.
internet,
I just
bro?
didn't.
Yeah, you've
I
been
just-
internet, brah.
I just didn't know if it was like this internet self-help group for the comic who can't come up with
Yeah,
a
it's
joke.
like-
Wait,
yeah,
you
and
know
then
what
I have
the-
to
you
send
know
a
what the
guy a
best
check
one-
for one of his jokes, and he
That's what I
stole
was
off of
thinking.
someone else.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
You know what the best one of those, like, you know, do you even internet, bruh? It was on Reddit actually, and there was like some thing about like the weirdest way that like characters have died in TV shows, and someone was like, "Oh, Dr. Drake Ramore fell down an elevator shaft." It's Joey from Friends, the guy he played, and someone was like, he was in a coma. Do you even friends, brah? And it was like the funny. I was like laugh out loud, like laughing.
Oh, you LOL'd?
LOL. I like LOL.
OMG.
actually,
No,
in
you
real
lolled.
life. I
Lolled.
LOL'd IRL
IRL?
in real life. Come on, man.
Do you remember
Yeah. Do you even
TRL?
internet, bro?
Yeah,
You even
right.
text,
All I know anymore about the internet is JOI, and that's
What's that?
like the extent of.
What's JOI?
Listen to the podcast 2 weeks ago. Here we are in Spain.
Here we are in Spain.
Yeah,
Is it
listen
towards
to
the end or the
Yeah.
beginning?
Like, how far
probably
should we
right-
fast forward to?
You're allowed. Listen, here's the thing about like our podcast is that it's not a film. Okay,
Yeah,
like
it's
there's
just
not.
like-
We don't have
Yeah.
acts or structure
yeah.
to like what we do.
Yeah.
Feel free to flip.
Yeah.
Feel free to skip ahead.
Yep.
If you have an iPhone, you can just drag it.
Yeah, just drag it over.
Yeah, and then you know.
The YouTube we cut into 2 parts, and then we do the last word even as a separate part at
Oh,
the end, where
nice.
we just kind of talk to the audience.
Yeah,
like
our
the
shit's-
audience can feel free to leave us comments, and then we'll read them basically.
Hate
Just
Phil.
Don't
onto the-
leave us.
comments.
Usually,
Hate Phil.
yeah, it's actually we mostly get positive feedback, but
How
I like
much
to
hate
read.
do you
I like
think
to
I'm
read the
gonna
negative
get?
ones for fun.
How much hate do you think I'm gonna get? I like shit on every like nerdy thing you guys brought
You haven't
up.
shit on.
Right.
I don't think you've actually
I
really
don't-
shit
he
on
hasn't
one
shit
thing.
on
No,
anything.
you just
I don't know
don't
what
I
it
just
is.
I just fucking hate you just sitting next to
Yeah.
you.
No, I think like I come across as a dude. Even like that article.
You
Rich
do
tried
come
so
across as a
hard.
douche.
He tried so hard to make me not look like a douchebag,
Yep.
and I was just fighting him. I ended up winning.
Yeah.
Look like a douchebag.
So you came off looking like a douchebag.
I think so.
But is that what? Do you think he came off looking like a douchebag?
What exactly is a douchebag? I have never seen one.
It's actually
You've never seen like what's it called? Saint
Yeah.
what or
it's what are you
Well,
talking
it's something that you squeeze
like-
up
there's
there
a
or something?
brand
Is that like is
called,
it like
like-
Summer's Eve? But that wouldn't be
No.
a douche
Summer's
bag.
Eve.
That's a
No.
douche bottle.
yeah.
I don't think so.
Is
I
that
think-
where you dispense the
No, I
douche
think
bottle?
it's an actual
The
bag.
bag
I think
that
it's an
holds,
actual
like,
a
the vinegar
saline
and shit, yeah.
bag. Yeah. With
Well, see,
the-
that's not that bad. That's actually pretty clean.
It's like an enema.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
I think it's the same bag for enemas.
Is it really?
I think so, from what I can tell from the infomercials.
When I was a kid,
Wait, they have douchebag infomercials.
They have the.
I don't think they call it a douche bag.
No, it's not.
I'm not sure.
It's a douche container.
It's on. Yeah, it's on HSN.
This is not something I want to Google because they'll send out weird
Yeah, probably
advertisements.
not.
Yeah, because now you're gonna get like the douchebag YouTube video where it's like,
Where it's just me sitting there, like trying to
What's
flex
a
my-
douchebag?
Yeah, it's me flexing my muscles in front of the mirror when my mom walks in. What the fuck are you doing now again already? Like I remember the one time my mother walked in and she actually caught me practicing kissing the mirror. Like, and this was only 2 weeks ago. But it's weird.
you have 2 kids and you still have to kiss the
listen,
mirror.
Yeah, well, no. Well, it's weird. There's no kissing involved in that. Are you supposed to
Not
kiss
if you
while
do
you
it
have
right.
sex? Yeah.
Yeah. And you have money.
I thought you usually just go from behind and give the fish hooks.
Oh,
That's illegal.
So, is
Is
it?
it
For the
illegal?
record,
It's
I
an illegal
warned you
move
guys.
in most combat sports. Yeah.
sex
this-
is a combat sport.
Yeah,
No,
Yes,
fish hooking.
No, I'm talking about.
Well, no,
they
it's
do
not
fish
illegal in
hooking and
sex.
It's awful, Lauren.
Do you know how dangerous it is to fish hook someone?
Yes.
I didn't think it was that dangerous.
It's
That's why I
really,
never found
really
it
dangerous.
erotic.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
That and a good old choke.
No.
A choke is safer than a fish hook.
All right. Tell that to David Carradine.
And Michael Hutchins. You know, live, baby. Live.
Ow.
How is that your thing? Like, can't you just like, if you think of like David Carradine, you think about Michael Hutchins, like they're well-known people. Like, I'm really sure it's not hard for them to get laid.
It's
but,
not the point.
but just think of the not well-known people who do that shit. I mean, there has to be some crazy stuff going on
Do you
out there.
guys have like weird shit like that, like weird fetish shit, or no?
No.
Sucks.
I'm so meat and potatoes. It's not even.
That's
funny.
like
Yeah, I'm like real
I
vanilla
never
when it
got
comes to
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
kind
Well, you know
of
what? You know
They're
what it
saying
is?
this here. I'm all meat and potatoes, but when they're at home, they put on dresses and like masturbate, and stick
I'm
peg caps up their butts.
what's oh god, what's the so when I was so I'm sober almost 5 years.
Yeah.
I'll be 5 years in August.
Quitter.
But drinking, I thought I was a fucking porn star.
Really?
And then I stopped drinking, and then now there's like this whole insecurity where it's like, are they gonna think that's weird?
Yeah. Do you keep your shirt on when you have sex?
I try to as much as
Yeah.
possible.
See, I'm like that too.
Yeah, because I
Only
don't.
because I don't want the girls seeing a belly button ring.
You have a belly button ring?
No, I just took it out. Actually,
He has a
my
nose
mother
ring.
made me take it out.
Don't you have a
because-
nose ring?
Yeah. I have a
Show
nose-
it.
I don't want to. Do I have to show it? It's all dirty.
Ugh.
Where did
happens
that
to you?
come from?
Inside, you flip it
Oh.
up.
What?
It came from my toe.
It was a magic trick.
Lauren's like, this is a great carnival. I didn't even have to pay. This is amazing. Yeah, no, I can't. If I can, I prefer.
Yeah, shirts
you know,
on.
Yeah.
Like I don't even like taking the pants off. Like the never new thing. I usually just unbutton my fly and pull it out.
Yeah.
And I have trouble because I have to have something to hold my pants back just to make it past the zipper.
Yeah.
You know?
Are you Irish?
No,
What are you?
I don't even know what I am.
You have no clue.
I'm
what
American, man. Like we all are sitting in this room.
I'm not American. I
America.
was born in Canada. Fuck you.
Whatever.
Wait, you're an Italian born in Canada.
Yeah.
Where were you born in
Scumbag.
Canada?
Montreal.
That's a weird town for
I
sex
know.
stuff.
Is it for sex? I moved away when I was 5, so
Go back.
if there was sex
Well,
stuff being done to
In
me,
Canada,
I
they
didn't
only
know
have
about
sex doggy style.
No,
No, it's
that's
only
like,
it's only doggy style, so they can watch the hockey game, eh?
and that website you found that was.
What was that one again?
I have no idea.
Oh, Canadian jokes.
CanadianJokes.com.
Anybody?
I don't want to contribute. This is.
I didn't know where to go.
What's your weird sex stuff
I'm
over
not
there?
gonna talk
You're
about
so
it.
Oh,
quiet
come on.
this whole
Come on,
podcast.
talk about it.
No.
Come on, just talk
You're
about it a
probably
little.
weirder than any of us. Then you probably. Have, like,
I don't
some
think
weird
so.
Shit.
I don't think so.
She probably has the
Yeah,
remote
no,
control
she
one
is.
right on her now. She's
I've known her for a year. I don't think so.
See, it's the ones that you think you know
And
that
you know what?
don't.
And I don't think you're a little crazy in the. But
Rich
at the end of the
like
day,
a Mormon guy. Like he looks like he's just like a straight. Like he goes home and eats his dinner and then has sex with his wife, missionary, and then goes.
missionary on your side.
I'm not that boring.
But they plan it once a month. They plan it once a month.
Oh,
He's
it's
like,
sex
it's the
night.
17th. It's
Yeah.
gonna happen tonight.
Sometimes I eat with my left, and then sometimes I eat with my right. All right, give me a break.
With the sex stuff or when?
Did you ever see the?
Yeah.
Did you ever see? Did you ever see the movie? Did you ever see the movie with Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio? It's called This Boy's Life.
Oh my God.
When he's with
Oh.
Ellen Barkin and De Niro's like missionary on your. It's like their wedding night.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and he's like missionary on your side. That's it. And she's like, oh, okay. And it's like, and it's just like this poor boy's life. And it's like here's his
Terrible.
stepdad who's a psycho.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I always,
That's an excellent movie.
it's really good. But yeah, that's how. And I don't know why, like in films, like that's the way they have to like, you know, express the fact that this guy is like a dominating
Yeah.
douchebag. To bring it back
I can relate with him.
on this, yeah. Well, I always thought On the Side was just lazy. It was just like I
for
really
both
don't-
parties.
Yeah,
Yeah.
read your book.
Nobody has to do any work.
No, and it's you're
Yeah.
only using like a
Lower
few
body
muscles.
from,
Yeah,
like,
it's
your knee to your waist.
yeah, it's very lazy.
Yeah.
But then like if you do anything else, it's like there's times when you lose your breath. You don't I don't think
Yeah.
you should do that unless you're climbing a mountain. That's how I feel. Unless you're in like Yosemite.
I lose my breath getting naked. That's the problem. I'm like, I take the clothes off and I right out.
I need my machine.
She looks uncomfortable.
No, Lauren just does that.
Uncomfortable.
Lauren just yeah.
Yeah, she judges us a lot.
She's not judging. She's fantasizing. She's working that remote over there.
You got it, Lauren. You got to admit that's pretty cool. I'm not saying you have it, but if you did, that would be pretty cool. Because we can't. Like you can tell when a man is in the mood. A woman, she has to tell you.
I've been in the mood the whole
you
entire
can
time
tell,
I've been
You
here.
can tell when a woman's in the mood.
No way.
Dude, like their body language completely changes.
Yeah, but they're basically telling you. A man, like if you're wearing sweatpants, you know.
Okay, yeah, I see. Well, if
No, you
her
don't.
sweatpants,
Not with you.
if her
Not with you.
sweatpants are like dripping from the sides, then you know. So it's
I see,
kind of the
like-
same thing.
My nickname in high school was Puppy Boner.
I was Needle Dick the Bug Fucker. I had a cousin tell me that. My cousin Carol. She's like
Wait,
60.
your cousin called you Needle Dick the Bug Fucker.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I come from a big Irish family.
Yeah, must be very close too.
And I had a joke, or I was saying like, just because in the Irish tradition, most people think that Irish are not well hung and whatever.
It's
and,
true.
And I said something, whatever, and she looked at me and she's like, "You're Needle Dick the Bug Fucker," and I'm like. And my mom was there. She's like, "Yeah, pretty much."
Wow.
And I'm laughing my ass off. I
does
thought
that
it was
mean?
great. It means it's just so I can have sex with flies.
Oh.
Yeah.
So sad.
I always make sure I get with girls who can't read a ruler, and then I convince them that this is 8 inches. So,
And you're like I'm way above the national average.
Yeah, way above.
I'm way above Kenya.
Use the metric system. Use the other side. Centimeters. 8 inches right there.
Check it out.
Yep.
About 3 weeks ago in West Africa, they had the first successful penis transplant.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Well, it was like,
Incredible.
how many hours was that? It was like a ton, wasn't it?
A
It was
ton
like
of hours.
Yeah,
Well,
like,
what they had to do was actually connect the tiny little blood vessels
Yep.
and the nerve endings, which is
Yeah.
something that they haven't done except for the one face transplant that they had tried
Yeah.
previously. And the guy's actually got urinary function now. It's actually fabulous.
Why did they have to do the penis transplant?
Botched circumcision.
oh man,
Circumcision is evil.
Do you know? Do you know that if you cut off
and that
when
is
the
why.
doctor cuts off too much when you become an adult, or when you could become a pubescent boy, you can actually have painful erections because they cut too
Yes,
much, so your,
I
so
know.
your penis has nowhere to go.
I know.
It's like it's like the most barbaric custom in like our society. It's 2015.
Says the uncircumcised guy here.
Hey, I
His
was born in
crotch smells
Canada.
like.
You guys already know.
What's up, radish?
Hey, turtle.
You just got to peel it back, man. You got
Dude,
to clean
you
up
know,
the
like
smegma.
it's only really on the East
do
Coast
know you have to
and the
clean
West
that.
Coast that there's more
You should clean it
circumcisions.
anyway.
Really?
It's
Really?
2015. We have showers. Circumcision was because they lived in the desert and it was dry.
Is it?
Yeah, that's why circumcision can't, because there was no water to clean themselves with. Like
Yeah,
the
'cause that
Jews in
gets-
Israel and shit. You know what I mean?
Because that gets
The Jews in Israel and shit.
I'm so well read. Back like 2,000 years ago or something.
Oh, when this airs tomorrow, it'll be the elections
Oh yeah.
For what?
for Israel.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
Netanyahu.
tomorrow, today.
It'll be today when this I said when this airs tomorrow, so today.
So yesterday.
Today. No, they're having the elections tomorrow, right?
Yeah, but when you listen to this again, it'll be
It'll be
yesterday.
today. What?
It'll be yesterday. Or
Don't
2
get
days
me
ago.
time traveling. I feel like it's
That's a whole other geek
I'm
I'm in
stuff
an
an
Austin
altogether.
Powers movie. Jesus Christ.
On America's
I'm
Tuesday.
not a big Doctor Who person.
No.
No, it's one thing
I think
never
there's
got
too many
into.
episodes.
What?
I
Too
can't
many
get into it
doctors.
because there's too many episodes.
What?
Yeah, but you don't have to. You can jump in at like any point.
You just
I don't think so.
just turn it on.
There's no arc. There's no like season long arc.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, if you can jump in at any season, is what I'm saying. Like you just.
But I got to start at a season.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to do that.
Yeah.
I know all my buddies in LA are like huge Doctor Who fans, and I look at the
Who?
filmography, and I'm like, I don't know where to start. There's like 40 years of Doctor Who. Like I wouldn't know where to.
Well, that's the thing is most modern fans haven't even seen the classic stuff at all. Like
So they've only
period.
seen stuff from like the past 5-10 years.
Oh yeah, yeah. Which is you can see what I would say is if you are a real hardcore sci-fi guy, like if you really like sci-fi,
I love sci-fi.
then you will want to watch some of the classic stuff. I think you'll get into it, like watch, a couple of the modern ones, and then you'll want to go back. But if you are not into sci-fi, like it, because a lot of Doctor Who fans, because Doctor Who is just very, it's fun and light for the most part. I mean, there's dark moments, but I think it's easy for people to get into because it's very digestible.
Yeah.
And as you go further back, it's more of that like stuff that you almost have to apologize for as a sci-fi fan, that kind of stuff.
Like I never watched it.
Well,
I feel bad that I never watched it.
It's just that it's so like some of it is so cheesy, like the effects are really, really bad, like or like the
But not recently.
The costume, no, the costumes are really, really awful, or the acting isn't really that great. But you love the actual story, or you love the characters so much that you're willing to forgive those things. See, like sci-fi fans are willing to forgive certain stuff, just like with comics or anything else. Like you forgive certain like, okay, you have to accept the fact that like, okay, yeah, these guys in tights, it's really weird looking and that wouldn't be functional or whatever, but it looks cool and you accept that. You know what I mean? Like you give and
That's
take.
illogical.
You give and take with the mythology.
Rick.
And you give and take with Doctor Who. I think like you would have to like the newer stuff. I don't think you have to so much. I would apologize for, but some of the older stuff. Not that it's not good, but a lot of it is very cheesy. So you kind of have to you have to be into sci-fi to say, okay, I can put that aside. If you try to like get somebody who's not into sci-fi to watch it, they're like, what the fuck is this shit? This is terrible.
No, I think you're right though, because like I don't have that suspension of disbelief.
Right.
And that's why I'm not into this stuff, because like
It's because you're not circumcised.
So what? All you have to
Circumcision
do is watch,
of disbelief.
You have to watch like Grey's Anatomy and like that's the
I
extent
can
of-
only really, all the shit I watch was like stuff that could actually happen.
Yeah.
Like I don't have that suspension of disbelief. Like you said, like I'll
Right.
be like, oh well, yeah, they're in a spaceship traveling through time or whatever the hell it is, and I'll just be like, nah, I'm just not.
Yeah, I'm just not.
Hard.
That's not going to happen.
Do you know what you
right.
need to watch? In this-
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh,
The
so
film?
good.
Yes, and the BBC version.
Yeah.
I never saw the BBC
Oh
version.
man, it's 6 hours long. It's
Oh, the
perfect.
radio drama.
It's great. Yeah, the radio drama's great.
My favorite thing out of the last 10 years ever, and that includes like film, television, everything, was Battlestar Galactica. It was so
so good.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
never
yeah.
saw it.
And anybody, and I'll give you an example. Is my roommate? it was on Sci-Fi Channel, and Sci-Fi really wasn't one of those channels where you're like, oh, they have great programming.
Yeah.
Especially in like 2004.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was working on a movie in LA with I swear to God, it was Spike Lee's producers.
That was such a douchebag. I was working on a movie.
I'm trying to give you context, and at the same time,
we got it all right.
Oh yeah, baby. But I was working with Spike Lee's producers who were like guys who were like, you know, if you know Spike Lee, he's very, you know, socially conscious and all this stuff. Maybe overly socially conscious.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a love him or hate him kind of guy.
Isn't he the guy who wrote Spider-Man?
Spike Lee?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, wait, real quick though. Did you guys see, you probably didn't, Jared Carmichael's special Live at the Store?
No.
Or Love at the Store, I think it's called. Spike Lee directed it. It's like a stand-up special.
Yeah, when he does stuff like that, they're great. Did you see his Mike Tyson thing that he did?
Awesome, yeah.
It was awesome.
But like he captured, like it was like you're watching it and you feel like you're right there in the club. Like it's just at the Comedy Store, so there's like maybe like, I don't know, 75 people there, and you just feel like it's real, like intimate. He did such a great, like it was ridiculous.
Like his things that he's been doing lately, which was like like when the levees broke, like about Katrina, and he actually did that documentary for little girls about the little girls in Alabama. They blew up the church. Mm-hmm. It was the white supremacists, like the KKK, like blew up the church, and it started like the whole Selma thing.
Right.
He did a great documentary on them. Like when he does documentaries or when he does like Broadway shows that he films, I think they're really incredible. When he talks, it's kind of like
he's like good at capturing like the tone of something.
Yeah, he just needs to not talk politically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's So
or about white people.
So like, were we talking about Battlestar?
Yeah.
How do we get to Spike Lee?
I have no
I don't
idea.
know.
Oh, okay.
I sort of wish we didn't.
Battlestar Galactica was I was working with Spike Lee's producers. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
And they're guys who I would never be like, you know, they're sci-fi fans. Like they're these guys. And the one producer said, he's like, honestly, like it's the best written show I've ever seen. And I started watching it, and like in the first night I watched, like this is before like Hulu, Netflix, any of that stuff. I watched, like I was downloading them illegally, and then I started buying them on iTunes. So and then I bought them on DVD, then I bought them on Blu-ray. I probably had like $500 invested in Battlestar Galactica. But my roommate at the time in this town that I lived in, I said to him, they did a mini series first. It was like this 3-episode mini series, and they never thought it would go to series where they'd have like 4 seasons. So I said, watch the first 10 minutes of the miniseries. If you're not convinced in the first 10 minutes, then it's not for you. And 3 hours later, he's like, now what? And then the first episode of the first season of Battlestar is widely considered one of the best written hours of television ever.
Oh, really?
And you know, what's funny with Battlestar too is its origins were you know, in a not very good TV series.
The late '70s version was awful.
They
were trying to reproduce.
They were trying to make Star
Wars.
Wars.
Yeah.
Exactly. They were trying to make Star Wars for television, you know, on no budget, and it was pretty awful. But
the thing is like all the space stuff looked cool.
Yeah.
And then when they moved inside to like interiors, it looked really shitty and the production value of that was bad.
Right.
So they tried to harness all the space battles of like A New Hope.
Yeah.
Which looked good for the time, but then inside and the stories were weak and stuff like that. And they realized that like, we're not making any money off of these television shows. Like,
right.
And then I don't know how the hell they greenlit Battlestar, but I swear to God, if you like politics, sex, war, betrayal, like all this stuff, and it's not
Game of Thrones.
It's better.
No,
I've never
No
watched
way.
Game of Thrones either.
No.
Because it feels like it would be too slow.
Oh.
No. Everyone's like, no.
Game of Thrones, man.
Get
Less
the
than a
fuck
month,
out.
man. What, April 12th?
Oh,
April 12th, the new
Yes.
season?
You know, like the type of shows I
the
like?
Red
Like,
Wedding.
Oz.
When I get mad at people, I
You guys
give
ever
them
watch
spoilers
Oz?
from the next few books.
Oh, from
Hey,
HBO.
I loved
Yeah.
Oz.
My favorite
Oz.
character.
Oz was fantastic.
I like well.
My favorite
'cause
character
I'm
is
like
Joffrey.
I told you I have like
Why?
attempted
Just
to
'cause
write.
people get pissed off
Alan,
when you
shut
say
the
that.
fuck up! I'm talking. I've attempted
Yeah, you talk too much. It's my turn now. I
to, like,
invited you
write
here.
scripts and stuff like that. But Oz is so like Tom Fontana is amazing, and like Oz.
How
was
about The
like-
Wire? Did you get into The Wire?
I love
The Wire was amazing.
Yeah, I just started.
It's
Oh
awesome.
really?
Yeah.
Dude, you gotta watch The Wire. I've probably watched beginning to end like 3 times. But Oz, like I'm not exaggerating because I didn't have cable once for 2 years, no cable, no internet, and the only thing I owned was all the box sets of Oz. I've probably watched it beginning to end like 20 times.
Wasn't that Michael Jackson's version of The Wizard of Oz with the Wheelers and stuff?
You're thinking of the
No,
Wiz.
Oh, that
that's
was The
Return to
Wiz.
Oz.
Yeah, Return to Oz had the Wheelers.
That had nothing to do with Michael Jackson,
Okay.
though.
What was the one with
The Wiz was Michael
Wiz.
Jackson,
The Wiz,
Diana
all right.
Ross, and
Yes.
Michael
It was
Jackson.
awful.
Return to Oz is fucking awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
What is
agree.
that? What is
So
Return
good.
to Oz?
There's
Spalina.
sprinkle dust.
It's like this kind of cult sequel to The Wizard of Oz. And
Oh, really?
it more closely follows the book version than like the movie version and stuff.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have a lot of the same characters that the movie
Yeah,
version
the book
does,
of
but
Wizard of
it's-
Oz was bizarre.
Yeah.
It was really strange.
It was
and then
like trippy and shit.
it was
Yeah,
really
it's
bizarre.
it's very dark. I remember like as a kid seeing the scene where she goes into this room and there's all these faces and the faces all wake up at the same time and they're all like screaming and staring at her. And
that was
stuff. It's
Mumby.
like, it was so fucked up. Like as a kid to see that because it was just on regular television, so you didn't know that was coming. You're just watching the channel and you're like, oh, what's this? You know what's going on here? And then all of a sudden you see these decapitated heads and you're like, oh my god, this is awful. You know, it was great, but it stuck in your head. You know, so I'm like, I have to find this like years later.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
See, I wasn't into like horror and stuff at all. It's not that my parents were like, "Oh, you can't see horror movies." Like for a lot of
I was never interested
kids,
in it.
yeah, it just wasn't a thing for me because like I didn't really grow up with it,
I
so I
used to
didn't
watch
discover
horror
that stuff
movies
until like years later. Like
all the
now,
time
I'm really
as a
into
kid.
that stuff.
But that scene, I remember that scene. I had no idea what it was from. I was flipping through channels.
Return to Oz,
That
man.
terrified
Return
me.
Oz.
So
yeah, it's
when did that
terrifying.
come out?
isn't it?
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Like 80s, 90s?
Yeah, late 80s.
It's a must watch.
Was that like similar to like the tree scene in Wizard of Oz with the tree with the faces?
No, it's more of like it's more of like enclosed.
Oh,
like it's
okay,
more claustrophobic because
It's
you're like
like a
trapped in the
cave.
room with them type
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah.
That's
It's
pretty
very
cool.
Yeah.
The
It's
movie-
weird,
the
and the
movie-
effects are really cool.
Yeah, they are.
The movie starts out in Kansas,
Yeah.
and it's after the tornado,
Oh shit.
and Dorothy keeps talking about Oz,
Yeah.
and then they take to try to help her. Annie M brings her to a psycho like a mental
Serious?
institution.
Oh my god, I gotta watch it.
And they start
You do.
they're gonna lobotomize her with the electrodes they put on her, and then she like the storm happens and the power goes out and she escapes, falls into a river, and next thing you know she's back at Oz. But that's how like the movie starts out, where it's like
That's
they're literally
crazy.
like gonna shock her brain.
Yeah, there's no
And
like
it starts
scarecrow.
right
There's like
there.
a pumpkin-headed guy and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, it's
They come
weird.
alive
It's
with
weirder and
magic
creepier.
dust.
TikTok and TikTok.
TikTok, yeah,
TikTok.
yeah.
That's awesome.
There's Jack, TikTok.
What was the bathtub?
They made it.
Yeah, and then they
But
sprinkled
then they
that
sprinkled all
dust on
the
it.
dust on
Right.
it, and then they flew to the rock guys layer, which is over the desert, the dastardly
You know,
desert.
it has a bit of a never-ending story kind of feel. You ever see Never-Ending Story?
Yeah, I've seen
yeah, it's
Never-Ending
because how it's a little, it's a kids movie, but it's a little
Yeah.
darker.
When our
like
text
that, it
goes,
has
man.
that kind of feel to it.
Yeah, like the Wizard of Oz is like a big drug movie and shit too.
Yeah,
Return to Oz is like way darker than like
Oh, yeah.
like
Yeah.
Never-Ending Story, way darker than.
Have you guys ever smoked salvia? Any of you guys?
No.
No.
Why have you?
So the one time I smoked salvia and I
The
was
one
hanging.
time.
I did it like 3 times, but the one
knew
time that
it.
I did, I was hanging out like by my old elementary school, and there were all
In
these
Miami?
Like, yeah, there was all these like big like trees like all around, and I swear to God, I smoked the salvia, and all the trees looked like the trees from the Wizard of Oz that we're talking.
Oh man,
Yeah, it was like the trippiest shit ever.
So then you had to smoke it 2 more times just to make
Yeah.
sure
right.
that was true.
You guys never smoked? What kind of childhoods do you guys have?
I'm not convinced of the safety of Salvia divinorum.
It's legal.
It's legal, yes, absolutely. But it's also a member of the sage family. It's like the equivalent of smoking tomato leaves, which I'm pretty sure has a toxicity that would be kind of dangerous.
Yeah, it was just weird. It made you feel weird. It's just a really like weird thing to do. Like,
stop doing it.
I haven't smoked salvia in like 9 years.
Oh, 9 years.
We just got to tell you, I'm a geek, so I didn't really I wasn't into that kind of stuff.
Did you like smoke pot? Any of that?
Oh yeah, I've smoked pot before, but never it was more like, okay, now I've done it, that's cool and everything, but I wasn't like super into I have to figure out how I'm going to do it again and get some.
I was
and
just like, now I've done it, so now I have to do it every day, all day.
Same with drinking. Like, it wasn't a big thing for me.
I was never like a big drinker, but I went through this whole like little drug phase where I did like mushrooms, where I loved mushrooms and pot, and then I tried salvia, and then I never tried acid. My friends screwed me over on that.
I think I was
bastard.
They all did it without me.
I never did it because I always thought life was too strange enough.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always been.
I've done basically everything else.
Yeah.
But that was the one where I was like, I don't need mushrooms or.
Have you ever done acid?
No comment on this.
I plead the fifth.
Thank you very much. Have you any closing thoughts here about the stuff now?
That was nowhere near a haiku. That just sounded very slow and
weird. That was more like a fuck you.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I think she put her middle finger up first on that one, too.
Shut the fuck up, Alan. That's what she said.
That was a segue for you.
So when's the benefit?
This Saturday coming up.
It's this Saturday, and it's at
Bones Bar.
And that's on. You gave a street before.
309 and Blackman Street. There's a Blackman Street exit coming off of 81, and it's right there on the corner.
And it starts at 6?
It starts at 6, runs
6
to 2 in the
2?
morning. Yep.
And who's going to be there?
Right? That's what Saturday is.
Me.
That's all you need to know, right?
I mean, besides the headlining entertainment.
Me.
Yeah, him.
Oh, Skip Monday's going to be there?
Yeah, Skip Monday's going to be there. Who else we got? We got Prosody, Attracted to Sin, Phoenix, and Years of Madness.
So I'm
missing probably like 1 or 2 people.
Delmer Von W.
Yeah.
What's that?
He's a comedian.
What's that?
He's going to be there also. He's a comedian.
So what are you going to do? Like in between the band sets up?
If you've seen Delmer's set,
what is it?
Yeah, what is it is more like it.
Yeah.
Like
so
Zip?
Totally.
So are the comedians going to be in between the bands, or?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And that usually never goes over well.
No,
it doesn't. But I'll make it work somehow.
Just everybody should have fun. Like that's the whole point.
It's gonna be fun.
It's for a good cause, and everybody have fun.
Yeah, I think
bring your A game.
I think everybody knows somebody or has been in that situation where you've had those bills that pile up that there's nothing you can do about. So.
Well, next month they're going to be having one for me, so I can move out of my mom's house finally.
Oh, good.
So these are all invited.
She's still doing your laundry,
but it's at your house, right?
Yeah.
yes, it's at his house. All right, you want to get to the last word?
Yeah. Okay.
Last word.
Okay, so this week we did. I did my infinite improbability column on cosplaying and at gaming places like PAX East and E3 Expo, which are gaming conventions. The reason that I did it was I kept seeing this article go around, and I really I'm the kind of person where because of the journalism background, I can't read anything and just accept that that's true. I have to read 20 other articles about the exact same thing before I say, okay, that is legitimately true, or this person actually said this. Especially because in social media, Facebook, people misquote people all the time. They take stuff out of context. There's a lot of clickbait out there where we'll put something salacious in the headline, and then you click on it, and the article's nothing like that, just to try to get you to click on it and get the traffic. So I kept seeing this article. And it was shared on all the geek sites that I read and stuff like that. And it was just shared this morning again. I think Geek Magazine put it on there. And I don't know why, because this site is not a good, reliable site at all. So I don't know why people kept sharing it, but I think it was just the headline.
I do love your plug on there, though, because you went and said something that plugged your article on there.
Oh yeah, I did. Because I saw it and I was so mad that like it got shared again.
Yeah.
It's like because it's one of those things where, especially if you have something large like Geek Magazine or something like that, you should have a little more discretion as to what you post. You know, like you should at least like look up what you're doing before you just throw it out there as a legitimate source. You know. Like all these guys who keep, you know, like every time there's a movie rumor about this person is going to get cast as Spider-Man or this guy is going to be in the next Avengers movie or whatever, 99% of the time it turns out to be wrong. And they keep using the same like 2 or 3 crappy movie site sources that are always wrong, but everybody just uses it anyway because they want to be the first one to get the headline up and get people to click on it. And it's so shitty. It's just this crappy cycle of bad content. So this guy, he made this article. It's called "Booth Babes and Sexy Cosplayers Are in Danger of Being Completely Banned from Events." So you're like, oh my God, how could they ban the sexy cosplayers, you know? So I'm really glad that this guy was able to stand up for the sexy women, because really, I mean, who stands up for sexy women? I mean, nobody. I mean, obviously they're an oppressed minority in this country. You know, everybody hates them. Everybody picks on them. Everyone wants to beat up beautiful women. So it's nice that this guy was you know, so generous to stand up for the beautiful women in this country. You know, like,
are you being sarcastic?
Yes, incredibly sarcastic.
Clearly.
So he writes.
What's wrong with beautiful women?
Well, here's the thing: is he's saying, you know, just recently, right off the bat, first sentence wrong. Just recently, PAX had banned booth babes, and now people don't know the difference between booth babes and cosplayers. A booth babe is someone like a model or somebody who's hired specifically
like at a trade show.
Well, that's exactly how these gaming things started.
Right.
The gaming conventions are very different from comic book conventions.
Mm-hmm.
Comic book conventions are more vendors and companies selling their wares and things like that. The gaming conventions are more like trade shows, and that's where they came from. That's where their origins came from. So there's still a lot like that.
Right.
And so they hire people who have nothing to do with the game. They don't know anything about the game. They're just, you know, hot girls that they can put out a lot of cleavage and get somebody to come to their table and get interested in their product.
Right.
And they might not be able to talk about
Most of the people who go to those things have never gotten laid.
Right. So they're like, oh, okay, someone's paying attention to me. I'm going to go over and look at this thing. So the PAX and E3.
This thing, is that what you referred to the woman as?
No, the game. Yeah. So they go and they look at the game and they hope to buy it. So the thing is he's saying that, oh well, they passed this thing and we need to stand up for the cosplayers because they're going to be next. You know, they're going to ban them and they're going to tell them they can't dress a certain way or whatever. Now there are
which ruins his entire con experience.
Exactly, because obviously that's all he's going for. He doesn't care about anything else. So and then he gets into this. By the end of it, it goes from like bad to worse, because the article goes from that to saying that all feminists are just jealous because they have small boobs. And therefore,
did he write that?
Oh yeah, legitimately, like that's in the article.
That guy's never gone late.
He said, "It seems increasingly hard to get people to fight for sexy women thanks to feminism, quote unquote. You can free the nipple, but only if they're A cups or B cups women. No women with D cups or women with rocking bodies." So obviously, a real gentleman and a scholar.
That's my pen name, by the way.
And then the best part.
At least he knows cup sizes.
Yeah.
So he's done his research.
He has done research. I don't know if he's ever touched them, but at the end, he uses, you know, the famous. I'm not kidding. He uses the famous Holocaust poem.
Oh my God.
You know,
what Holocaust poem?
Okay, you know, they came for me. You know, like they came for they came for the priests, and I said nothing, and then, you know, like that, the whole, and then they came for me, and there was no one left to talk for me, you know, like that kind of thing, to stand up for me.
He equated booth babes to what the Holocaust was.
Yes. He legitimately took out like words like Jews and put in like babes.
But booth babes are both genders.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's another thing is they are very clear about that, and PAX is very clear about.
I want to
that.
I want to be a sexy booth babe.
I want you to be.
It requires lots of oil.
But I just it's
There's no shortage of oil.
what I try to do with Infinite is I'll talk about stuff that the geeks are interested in, but also kind of try to talk to people who aren't interested in this.
Can I
to kind of inform them of like what's going on or like why this is such an a weird or interesting thing to talk about.
Can I create a dissenting debate?
Sure.
What? Well, number one, like First Friday around here, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people get upset. Well, a lot of artists get upset, or people who run the galleries and stuff, because they think it's glorified wine and cheese night.
Sure.
And it's like, people should be coming out for art, not wine and cheese.
Yeah.
And my argument back to that is, yeah, but you're getting them out.
Right.
So with Booth Babes and, the cosplay stuff, like,
They're not going for that.
Nobody's going to the
nobody's
gaming
paying
conventions
that kind of money and reserving hotel rooms and the whole other thing.
which
to look at what they can on the internet, like
Right.
they're going to get a lot more on your porn site
Look,
of choice.
I like explosions, but an explosion in real life is amazing.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, some of those guys, that might be like the only time a girl like talks to them. Like I kind of now I'm starting to agree with what you're saying.
I mean, but the reason that they're there is
Yeah.
because the market was okay with it.
Exactly. Like they're.
You know what I mean? It's not
I guarantee you, there's a guy who's like, "Oh man, I'm gonna see that girl at the fucking World of Warcraft booth or whatever."
But there's a lot of cosplay.
Wow.
But there's a lot of cosplay girls who are very famous because that's what they do. They have a fan
Right.
base. They have.
They actually have something to do with the culture, whereas these booth babes are hired professionals, blank
Yeah.
slates that have no idea what's going on. They are just like the Coors Lights girls who just are there to.
But you don't think that there's like some guys who think like the girls actually like them? Like there's got to be.
Well, it's the same thing. It's
I'm
the
sure
same
there's
thing as
some,
it's
but
the
I
same
don't
thing
think it's as many as.
It's the
we
same
think.
thing as like a strip club or
Yeah.
Wait, the girls don't like it? Strip clubs?
they like your money. They want you
And I think
because
it's
those
unfair.
girls there are dressed like that for one reason only,
Right.
is because
Right.
said company hired them to be like, you need to get people over here to pay attention to what we're doing,
Right.
and if you have to show cleavage to do that, and the greater problem might not be the booth babes or whatever's going on. It might be the greater problem is the fact that the men are walking over to them.
Right.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing: is and I talk about
if that's the route we're
thing.
going.
I'm not.
Yeah.
See, the thing is I'm not. I'm looking at both sides in this, because the other thing is we have to take into account that I'm not against any of these people dressing up in this way. I'm not, some puritanical morality police that are going to tell people they can or can't dress a certain way or that sort of thing, because I find it like they're saying their argument is, well, it's a family event, so people should dress as such, and it's like, whoa. This is an industry that markets ultra violence to children on a regular basis and is totally cool with that. And most of these games feature women in these clothes that they're dressing up as. Like the girls are dressing up in these scantily clad clothes that they're copying exactly from the games.
game. Yeah.
Right.
So in other words, it's okay for the multi-million-dollar company that's supporting my event, that's giving me money, to do this. But the little vendor guy can't use the exact same tactic to get people to his table.
Right.
So you can use that tactic to get people to buy a game.
Yeah.
Like games like Dead or Alive or something like that, where it's just girls in bikinis and things like that. Or but this guy over here can't use it to sell his T-shirts or whatever.
I mean, I'm pretty sure how it started is like one guy started doing it, and everyone started going over to his booth, and then everyone's like,
and everyone
"Oh, fuck
figured
that,
it out.
we're doing that next year," So
Right.
that's probably because if somebody stopped,
It's
doing
not
it,
a new concept.
right?
No,
but
not at
when
all.
it started, because like if somebody
They've been doing it at monster truck rallies and NASCAR events for decades.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if someone was like, "Oh,
That's
we're
how
not
I learned
going to do
about
it at
sex
our
when I was in a
booth.
NASCAR race.
Our booth is just going to be about games. We're not going to have any hot
nobody's gonna
girls.
go there.
They're
Nobody's
like
gonna
the
go
booths
there.
that have the
Exactly.
jerky available, like the different
Beef jerky?
beef jerkies, like elk jerkies. Those are the greatest.
I'm never
because
gonna walk-
There's actually food.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? A man can look at a woman and say she's beautiful. A woman can look at a woman and say she's beautiful. it's very hard for a man to look at a man and say he's beautiful.
You're beautiful.
Well, thank you.
I don't really think it's that. I see
But you know what I
guys
mean?
all the
like,
time, and like when
yeah,
a
but
guy's
you're not there going
attractive.
like, oh, you sure do, but you're not like, hey,
Dude,
man.
have
I
you
don't
ever
think
seen a
that's
dude
true.
with like a 6-pack, like washboard abs?
Like this.
Justin
You can
Bieber?
just
Yeah.
kinda look at
You know
that.
what I mean? Like you look at a dude and you're like, man, he's a really good looking dude. Like, you know?
Right.
Especially if
No.
he's standing there showing you his abs.
Yeah, exactly.
I get that a lot. I get that a lot.
But the only reason you're going to know it is if he's showing skin.
But what
That's
does it
true.
have to do with video games?
It doesn't, but them doing it brings more people to the booth.
That's
I'd
so.
rather-
So I'm curious. I read your article, and I wasn't quite sure.
Where
and
I
this is
was on?
and this is just me reading it real quick, and I'm not a real good reader.
Okay.
So he read the headline and that was it.
No.
Right.
I read the whole thing. I read even the cited stuff that you had from the other guy's article and stuff. And I don't particularly know, like, and this is not a knock, is I'm not too quite sure. Like, are you for that? Are you against that? Are you just against this man for writing this article?
What I was kind of going for is I'm kind of shooting in the middle where, you know, I can like in one part I said, you know, like in this particular part of your article, I can totally get where you're going, and then you go off the deep end and you go into to sexism world where it's just completely
Right.
Because his argument was that it was
bizarre.
sexist.
You know, well he goes off and you know talks about women like they're, you know, stupid objects. And what I think what I was trying to get at is the main piece itself. People are so concerned about talking about this debate that doesn't exist. He made it up. The
Right.
whole article is made up. He's trying to say they passed these things and now they're going to come for the cosplayers. No, this happened years ago. It's been functioning fine ever since.
What did you say? It was
Nobody
2006?
He said nobody was told that this was going to happen. They took a poll on their website, and over 60% of the people who go to these conventions were like, "Yeah, I'm totally cool with you banning booth babes. I'd
Oh,
rather
really?
just play the games." Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they totally cool, legitimately fine with it. So it's not like they did this some sort of hidden thing or whatever else. So he's just trying to make a salacious headline and turn it into this big argument that's not there, and turn it into some like, oh, they're coming for the cosplayers, which they're not at all. They've been pretty much almost
So
always left
he
alone.
just Fox News'd cons.
Yeah, more or less. So, but what I thought was interesting is that people are so concerned about talking about that aspect of it that they didn't get to the next part where he's talking about how, like, you know, only feminists have tiny boobs and how, you know, women are, you know, fuck toys basically, and just goes off on this crazy
not?
shit, and then talks about
I didn't know
and
that.
then uses a Holocaust
fuck
poem.
toys.
Like, to me, you lose all credibility at that point. Like, I look at this and say, okay, the rest of the article is obviously shit because at this point he's using a poem about the Holocaust to talk about gaming and booth babes. Give me a fucking break.
Do you think that this guy was? I mean, does he write for a reputable?
He writes. It's more or less like it's like a tough guy masculine troll site. Like the entire site is like women are stupid, men are smart. Here's why.
It's like fat
like
guys
every
in
article.
Dragon Ball Z button ups.
Yeah, more.
Shit,
yeah, it's exactly what it is. Yeah, but it's all gaming stuff. Like,
Can we
it's
be
related
against
to
that,
gaming.
maybe?
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
Can we write an
It's
article
so
where
funny.
we're not like?
It's just guys who hate women because nobody will fuck them.
I'm fairly
But
That's like
certain
their
that
whole
the
thing.
majority of actual gamers are female.
Really?
There's a huge-
There is,
yeah.
yes, huge.
Yes.
Like,
Well-
my PlayStation friends, like 50% of them are female.
Like on the network?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I don't think any of them are over 12.
So
Those
my
are
That's why you're
the
not allowed
hardest
near a
ones.
school.
my position essentially was, you know, PAX and E3 should make these things a little more defined. Like, if they're going to make up rules and stuff like this, they should be very specific, because of the way that you read it.
But didn't you cite that
It's very goofy.
they came up with it in 2006?
This is that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you
the-
were referencing
Yeah, and over the
terms
years,
and conditions they put in
and-
since then.
But over the years, no, they haven't really changed the policy much at all in the last few years.
yeah, but they cracked down on booth babes.
Right, but I'm saying for cosplayers.
It's
In general.
well, this guy's creating a non-issue.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So your stance is this guy's a mental midget.
This guy's a fucking idiot, basically.
That and
he's trying to he's trying to incense people.
If we actually want to talk about this as an issue, that they should just set down certain rules that are actually legit. Like they're talking about your skirt can be so many inches and stuff like that. Like we're back in Catholic school and stuff like that. School. Yeah, I mean, legitimate. Yeah. I saw that in Catholic school where they pull out the ruler.
It's gotta be.
It's literally guys who don't have sex or like can't have sex, so they just want to ruin it forever. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
if I'm going to be miserable, so are all of you.
Yeah. If a woman wants to walk down the street in a bikini, okay, that's fine, as long as she's not naked. Because children,
and that's exactly what I'm saying.
But these guys are like, they've probably never even had a real conversation with a girl before. So
are
they're
you
like,
referring to gamers or cosplayers?
People like this guy.
The guy who wrote the article.
Yeah.
Hey, like
good,
Rich?
good.
Yeah. Not like gamers. Like this guy. Like that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I think his attitude and the fact that like so many commenters are totally accepting of that part of it plays into the whole Gamergate thing and how that's become a bigger issue now. And now we're talking about sexism in games and how there are such a large majority of women that play games now, but they're completely unrepresented by the industry, and the industry doesn't stick up for them or give a shit about them in any way. I mean, to the point where you have female game developers who are getting death threats. This same weekend, I saw this article shared more times than anything else.
Game developers getting death threats?
Yet the Boston Globe did an article about a woman who was getting regular death threats for being a woman. Like basically,
that's it. Just because
her only crime.
It's legitimately like this is a men's thing. Yeah. Get out of our boys' club.
See, I don't understand if the whole purpose, they say like our whole purpose is to like have sex and so if the whole purpose is to have sex with a girl, now you're like, oh, let me just slut shame her and like make her feel bad. So like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then you get this repressed sexual society.
Right.
And it's like counterproductive
it doesn't play into the biological imperative of finding a compatible mate and procreating.
Exactly.
It's very destructive.
It's like you're doing the opposite.
It's just like,
don't procreate. Fine.
Yeah, exactly. They'll die off.
Yeah.
What's Gamergate?
Oh, you want? I don't know if we have time to get into that.
Can we cut this into a separate section? We're at 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah, we would have to really like.
Maybe we can hit up Gamergate next week.
Yeah, well, I mean, very
Give me the Cliff's Notes.
Very long story short, it more or less started as.
Why does every fucking conspiracy have to be a gate?
It's not even a conspiracy. It's just
the Watergate.
Stupid. Yeah. It was just blown out of proportion.
Oh, it's
where this woman game developer, her boyfriend at the time wrote a review of her game, and so people quote unquote exposed this like it was some huge scandal. It's not like he was writing for like the New York Times or something, and saying that basically the guy's side of it, the men's side is this woman is a slut and a whore, and the only reason that she's getting any press at all, there's all these hardworking gamers.
Why? Because she knows how to use fucking Maya,
and she's getting press for her game because of this, and then that turned quickly into death threats and I have located your house. Here's your address.
Is this one of those examples of like, wow, that escalated quickly?
Yes, very, very much so. Like within weeks, it was just insane.
Just because a dude wrote a review of his
right. Well, the thing is the guys argued that the whole thing is it's not about sexism. It's not about women or gender or any of that stuff. It's about ethics and journalism, which is just a laugh riot. Like as if these guys ever gave a shit about journalism in their lives, all of a sudden are preaching about journalism. In reality, the whole thing is just like, you're in our boys' club. You girls need to leave. And then it turned into kind of a rallying cry because then other female gamers and other female developers specifically, who are, a lot of them are independent developers making games, are getting discriminated against by guys. Guys are bombarding their Twitter, their websites, whatever, with death threats and all kinds of stuff. It's insane.
I will say that, in any field, especially in creativity, I mean, we all know that in blue collar workplaces, like the sexism is, it borders on, I mean, it is sexual harassment. It is whatever. My experience the history of any creative endeavor is that women notoriously, and even in the film industry, is like when film started hitting big, the only people they would let edit the movies were women because they felt like that was a woman's job to put it all together, to make it all pretty. Oh yeah, there's this great documentary called oh my God, Stars did it. It's like making the cut.
It's called Oh My God.
Yeah, it's called Oh My God. Stars did it. But it goes to the history of editing and how movies got to be, and then the digital whatever. But it was relegated to a job for women because men thought it was beneath them to put the film together. There's not a lot of female directors, cinematographers, shit like that, and I also don't think, and this is not me being sexist at all, there is a biologic difference between men and women. As far as when I worked on Sons of Anarchy, there was this great director named Gwyneth Patton. Damn it, she did a lot of episodes. You know what I mean? And it's a very masculine show.
Right.
And she did a lot of episodes, and like I think she's moving into features now. It's like she was brilliant, and there was also like a lot of guys, but most of the people who run Hollywood, like most of the production managers and stuff like that, a lot of them are women. Mm-hmm. And I still don't think it's fair. In some respects, I think it is a man's world,
right?
In a lot of respects. And it's interesting because, women are actually more of the population.
Yeah.
More of the gamers.
Huh?
And more of the gamers.
Well, invariably more of the gamers. But the thing is like, from a business standpoint.
Yeah.
So if you look at studios that make games, if you look at studios that release games and stuff like that, there, does the market not want it? Right. I'm sure but here's the other thing too. It's like most of these companies are run by men. Do you really think they're going to get a female-centric game right?
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's nice to see like now with like Xbox One and PlayStation 4, like there's a lot of independent games being made, especially by females.
It's not really a fair assessment though, because physiologically a female can put herself into the mindset of a male character and play as a male character in a video game landscape.
Well, just like I could be Lara Croft.
You could, yeah, right.
Which I have no problem being. But I think, I think, so like if they did a new Call of Duty where one of the main characters was female, which I don't know if they've done yet.
Well, they have female characters on there.
But but it's not like one of the main.
Yeah, well, that's one of the best parts about that game, though. It's like dressing a Barbie doll.
Right.
Like for guys sit there and just all day, I'll see guys changing their outfits and everything, like the whole entire day.
Best games are all about that.
Yeah.
The outfit.
The thing though, like I can't get into like all the Call of Duty and stuff, mainly just because it's like all it is just like I'm not really a big fan of kids, which is why I'm not having any kids. And it's just these kids screaming all day at each other, or grown adults screaming like kids at each other. Oh, die, you faggot! Oh, I got you! Oh, just
I can't
constantly cursing and yelling and screaming at each other.
I had a 12-year-old tell me I was a piece of shit, and then I just took the
headphones
off.
And God forbid you have a username that indicates that you're female.
Oh my God!
Forget it.
Yeah.
Forget it. You will just be insistently harassed to the end of time
because it's just so annoying.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and they're all tough. They're all internet tough guys too.
Exactly.
So it's just frustrating. But so we had all this discussion about this. We talked about this.
Well, somebody replied on the Facebook.
Yeah,
I think from what I read, because I don't know how to read.
I think this is where we were heading.
I think
this is where we were heading because it is the last word.
I don't know where. I thought it was very eloquent.
Yeah, well, mainly and we've heard this before. This guy Frank says, "What does this have to do with NEPA? We get enough stuff of this from other feeds. Stay on course." So apparently he's a sailor.
Staying on target. Staying on target.
Yeah. Nice reference. Thank you.
Yeah, but we have cons. It affects.
This is the greater thing that we've talked about this on the podcast before, on how we complain how Scranton and the area is insular, and we're 10 years behind the times, and it's like this own little area in itself, like it's its own country. But then anytime we try to talk about the outside world, it's like, no, we have to stay here. No, talk about, like it's, and what I did was, I just was very nice.
Did he read the article?
Probably not. He just saw the headline and said, this, to me, this doesn't have anything to do with NEPA. I said, well,
are there cosplayers in NEPA?
Absolutely.
There's cosplayers everywhere.
Yeah.
So then
it is relevant.
There's actually some really great cosplayers in the area that do some really cool events. Mike Watts,
I think their costumes are fucking incredible.
Yeah, and they put so much time and detail.
Steampunk's awesome.
Yeah. It's such the whole design of it,
it's so cool.
I have a friend of mine who makes her living making things for conventions, actually. Like
really?
She makes handmade pillows and toys and all kinds of things, and she's incredibly good at it.
See, but cosplay isn't just sexy. Cosplay is like, I saw that Adam dude from Mythbusters. He showed up as the astronaut from Alien.
Yeah, and most of them are not like, the focus is so much on this whole sexy cosplay thing that most of it is not even the females themselves. Like she dresses up regularly, and she's anime characters, and they're not like these, over the top, scantily clad women or anything like that.
Or that little 7-year-old girl who dresses up like Optimus Prime.
What?
Oh yes,
I love her.
I've seen that.
Yeah,
but that's that in essence. I don't think that the guy who wrote this article took that into play either.
No. I mean, that's definitely what he wasn't talking about. Right. So
sexy girls.
I said, thanks for the feedback, but we featured entertainment columnists from the very beginning. They're all from the area, and because we have a website, we not only we have a broader audience to reach online, but other scenes to reach as well. There are many people from NEPA who attend conventions, cosplay, collect, play video games, etc. Yet there's very little locally produced content for them about what they love, so we enjoy providing that. In fact, there is a benefit in Wilkes-Barre this weekend that is geek themed, that we will feature local cosplayers, and we'll talk about that on the podcast and blah, blah, blah. So I mentioned that. And he says, well, I was expecting something different from this site, something more local. Goodbye, good luck.
How is?
And so,
is he Murrow?
I said, well, let me put it to you this. I just said one last thing. He didn't respond, but I said, Frank, a local newspaper can cover the NFL, but that doesn't mean they don't care about local sports.
Right.
The NFL does affect local fans, though, so that's why they cover it. It's the same here. We're sorry this one article doesn't interest you, but we produce dozens of pieces of local content daily featuring local people and events every week.
And that's
so it's like one thing, and you're like, no, done. This whole site, terrible, awful.
Even like
communist.
Just from an outsider's perspective, as someone who moved here recently,
like,
there's a very huge, like almost too much of a focus on like local stuff.
Where are you from again?
Go fuck yourself. So
Canada.
Like the local sports thing. Like they talk about high school sports on the fucking radio,
right,
and the news.
Yeah.
Like when I moved here, I was like, what? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Why is that a thing? Right.
And then like coming where I come from, where like there's teams of kids who, like, the quarterback's gonna eventually be in the NFL, the running back, the wide receiver, the whole defense, and then like here, and it's like, okay, like I'm not trying to disparage anybody, but he's like a 5'5" like Irish kid, and he's a running back. He's obviously not gonna make it to the NFL, but they'll devote like radio time to talking about, oh, this kid rushed for 200
huge
yards.
cover stories.
Did you ever hear of a little town called Berwick?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Why?
Berwick was like, did you ever see Friday Night Lights?
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Oh, okay.
Where it was like the focus. Berwick was state champs for like 10 years.
And then you graduate high school, and then you have to go to a community college, and then
I don't think anybody from Berwick ever went to the.
I wouldn't know. I don't watch football.
Yeah. But I mean,
I'm just saying, there's a huge like local focus around here.
Right.
Like more than there is like other places.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, and the thing is that's why I'm surprised that there wasn't more content that was focused on that particular market, because there's so much focus on sports and things like that. I mean, I saw the same thing in high school all the time. It was like, you know, our drama club had to scrape together a few bucks to put together a play, but all the funding was going to the football players so that they could have these big elaborate games and, you know, all this all these you know, great events and stuff like that. And it was like, if we got our one play of the year out the door, we were happy.
Yeah.
You know, so it just, like all the other clubs, the artsy clubs and whatever, it was like whatever you can scrape together, great, but we don't really care about you. It was, the focus was so much about sports.
Well, that's, because
so
sports brings in a ton of money for schools.
And
like
that, yeah, and that's the
stuff,
thing. Yeah, and it's the same with media. Sports brings in so much money that's what they're concerned about, and they don't really, the other arts and other interests kind of get cast aside, and it's unfortunate.
Well, if sports didn't exist, neither would ESPN.
Right, exactly.
So I mean, you know, it's a multifaceted market. You know, it has a lot.
If music didn't exist, we'd still have MTV.
No, if reality TV didn't exist, we'd still have MTV.
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw a video on MTV? When was the last time you watched MTV?
I don't remember the last time I turned on MTV.
I don't even know what's on there anymore.
I don't even know what channel it is.
I don't even know when the last time I turned on my TV was.
Yeah, MTV stopped speaking to me when it started speaking to Teen Wolf. I think it was a lot before that, but
well,
sure.
But the thing is for every, you know, negative Nancy, there's plenty of other people. Like there's a guy named Jason. He said, I love this article, you know, love this column, keep it up. And Kristen says, besides, sexism is something that should be called out everywhere. It affects all of us. I said, that's exactly it. That's why we brought it up in the first place and talked about it. And the thing is I would have, if growing up here as a geek, I guess, you know, this could be kind of our closing note, more or less, is that, you know, you feel very lonely. You know, you feel like you're the only one who's into this stuff. You feel like you know, nobody cares about the things that you do and stuff. I wish I had, you know, a website or something where I could find other local people who are into the same stuff that I was, and I could have met some of these people years and years ago, and I would have been a lot better off because of it. You know what I mean? Like, so many of these guys spend years and years, you know, like at home, you know, talking to people from across the country because they're the only people that they can meet, so to speak.
I lucked out because I grew up with them.
See, yeah, and that's the thing is sometimes you do. Sometimes you meet somebody in high school or something like that you can hang out with and get along with, and sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
So I think there needs to be more resources for local people to get together, and, you know, in the same way that, like, you know, to hear about local comedy. There's plenty of comedy fans in the area.
I didn't realize the scope and breadth of local comedy.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And
recently.
Neither did I until I really started focusing on that on NEPA scene and writing about these guys. Like it opens your mind
They're
up to
a great
the fact
group of
that
guys.
there's I mean,
it's a couple
these
assholes.
guys not so much.
A couple
but,
assholes.
You know,
still
most
a great
of them.
group of guys. I don't care what anyone says.
And so I think that's
Don't ever call me a great guy again.
You're a wonderful asshole.
Yeah.
Acceptable.
Yeah. So I mean, I hope to get more people like that together. In fact, there's a couple of guys who do a podcast called Longbox Heroes that's about comic books, and we're gonna start kind of posting their podcasts to the site so we can kind of share our audiences. Yep, they're right from here.
You could have them on. I wouldn't know what to talk about.
Make sure they're local, or Frank's gonna bitch again.
I know. Frank is gonna come.
What does this
me,
have to do with
apparently.
anything? Well, Frank,
These guys are from Texas.
you don't know how to play chess. Sorry about that, sir.
Right.
I just want to say thank you guys for coming on. I know
Thank you for
Thanks
having
for
us,
having
man.
us. Yeah,
it's
definitely.
into
awesome.
your.
Oh, you're welcome, by the way.
Did Rich write an article about you?
No, I'll never get an article.
No, you
written
have
about
to.
me.
You have to win
Wrote,
the open
written.
mic, and to win the open mic, you have to be funny. So I'll never write an article about
You went there.
This guy, this out of towner, this
This Miami, this Canadian.
you. Are you an out of towner too?
Yeah.
Where?
New York
New York City or?
area.
Oh, okay.
Albany. a little bit outside of Ithaca.
No, but you've been very generous with your time, and I want to say thank both of you.
No, thank you very
And,
much. And when do we get our checks?
Yeah.
It's in the mail.
Yeah. Checks in the mail.
Keep checking every day.
I need your Social Security so I can 1099 you.
We'll also
so-
need your home address and your mother's maiden name.
You can have my home address. They can't.
Because he's a man.
I
Yeah,
see.
he is a man. What did I tell you about his
He
thing?
was
His
a
gig at
man.
comedy shows.
Right?
And now it's his gig everywhere.
Is that what you do? You're just like, hey, ladies.
No,
Yeah, tries nailing
that's
the
not what I do.
groupies.
No.
Do you have
not what I
groupies?
do. No, I don't have any groupies.
Do you have Band-Aids?
Sucks to
What's
be you.
Band-Aids?
No, I saw it in a movie.
Oh,
We're not groupies. We're Band-Aids. So, all right, guys, thank you so much.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Lauren.
Yep. Support the Geek Fest on Saturday at Bones Bar in Wilkes-Barre.
It's
Hell
6,
yeah.
6 to 2.
I'll be there.
All right.
So, hey,
yes.
Good night.
good night.